350 million people around the world tuned in to find out who shot JR. That's more viewers than the Super Bowl, more than the moon landing. One TV show brought the entire planet to a standstill. I particularly loved Dallas for its cliffhangers, including the Who Shot JR mystery and the dream season. This show didn't just entertain people, it held them hostage for months at a time. The Who Shot JR advertising catchphrase created in 1980 by CBS became a global phenomenon. International odds makers were setting odds for the culprit. Bookies in Vegas were taking bets on a fictional character. Larry Hagman's performance as J.R. Ewing was absolutely magnetic. The man made you root for the villain. His scheming, his manipulation, his pure evil, it was television gold. As the series progressed, J.R. became the show's breakout character, whose schemes and dirty business became the show's trademark. The production budget for Dallas was massive for 1978. CBS knew they had something special. The Southfork Ranch location became iconic. Real Texas oil money funded some scenes. The authenticity showed in every frame. What Dallas really explored was American greed at its finest. It's a story filled with betrayal, ambition, and the dark side of American wealth. The show held up a mirror to Reagan-era excess. Money corrupts, power destroys families, love becomes a weapon. This series launched careers and destroyed them. It created the modern primetime soap opera. Every nighttime drama since owes Dallas a debt. Dynasty, Knots Landing, Melrose Place. They all followed the Dallas formula. But wait until you hear about the 9th season that was annulled as a dream, since referred to as the dream year or the dream season. That's right, they literally deleted an entire season. 24 episodes. Gone. Because Patrick Duffy wanted back on the show. Here's what actually happens in this Texas oil empire saga. Season 1. The series opens with Bobby Ewing and Pamela Barnes revealing to their families they have married. The main premise is the longtime rivalry between the Ewing and Barnes families. The Ewings own Ewing Oil and Southfork Ranch. The Barnes family considers them enemies after decades of bitter business disputes. J.R. Ewing, Bobby's older brother, uses manipulation and blackmail to achieve his ambitions, both business and personal. J.R. seeks to break the newlyweds up by using ranch hand Ray Krebs, who once dated Pamela. Ray works at Southfork and has feelings for Pam that never fully disappeared. The Ewing family consists of patriarch Jock Ewing, his wife Miss Ellie, and their 3 sons, J.R., Bobby, and Gary. J.R. often comes into conflict with his brother Bobby and his long-suffering wife Sue Ellen. Sue Ellen struggles with alcoholism throughout the series, using alcohol to cope with her troubled marriage. The first season establishes the power dynamics at Southfork Ranch. Jock built the oil empire from nothing, starting as a wildcatter in East Texas. Miss Ellie comes from old money and owns the ranch land. Their marriage united 2 different worlds, new oil money and established Texas aristocracy. Season 2. Cliff Barnes gets his hands on a document proving dirty dealings between a state senator and Ewing Oil. He turns it over to the state of Texas for investigation. Cliff works as a lawyer and constantly battles JR in court and business. His hatred for the Ewings stems from his father, Digger Barnes, who was Jock's former business partner. After finding out about a possible mole, JR turns on Pam, putting her marriage to Bobby in serious jeopardy. JR suspects Pam feeds information to her brother Cliff. The tension between the newlyweds grows as Bobby defends his wife against his brother's accusations. Sue Ellen begins an affair with ranch hand Ray Krebs. She's lonely and drinks heavily. JR treats her poorly, using her as a pawn in his business games. The affair gives her temporary happiness but creates more problems when JR discovers the relationship. The season introduces Lucy Ewing, JR and Bobby's teenage niece. She's wild and rebellious, causing problems for the family. Lucy represents the younger generation of Ewings who don't respect the old ways of doing business. Season 3. J.R. expands Ewing Oil's operations internationally. He makes deals with corrupt politicians and foreign governments. His methods become increasingly ruthless. Bobby disagrees with J.R.'s tactics but can't stop him from making dangerous alliances. Sue Ellen's drinking worsens. She crashes her car while drunk and pregnant. The baby survives, but Sue Ellen faces criminal charges. J.R. uses his influence to get the charges dropped. He controls every aspect of Sue Ellen's life, monitoring her activities and limiting her freedom. The season introduces Dusty Farlow, a rodeo cowboy who becomes Sue Ellen's lover. Their relationship represents Sue Ellen's desire for freedom from JR's control. Dusty treats her with respect and kindness, something she rarely experiences in her marriage. The season ends with JR being shot in his office and the 3rd season finale, A House Divided. This created the Who Shot JR mystery. The shooter's identity remains unknown as the screen fades to black. JR had made so many enemies that any number of people could have pulled the trigger. Season 4. The mystery was not resolved until the 4th season. On November 21st, 1980, 350 million people around the world tuned in to find out who shot JR. The revelation: Kristen Shepard, Sue Ellen's sister, pulled the trigger. She was also JR's secretary and mistress. Kristen had been JR's mistress for months before the shooting. She shot him during a confrontation in his office. JR had been blackmailing her and threatening to destroy her life. The shooting was ruled self-defense after JR admitted he had driven her to desperation. JR recovers from his injuries, but the experience changes him temporarily. He becomes more paranoid and suspicious. He hires bodyguards and increases security at Southfork. The shooting makes him realize how many enemies he has created through his ruthless business practices. The season also deals with the aftermath of the shooting on the family. Sue Ellen feels guilty about her sister's actions. Bobby tries to keep the family together while JR recovers. Miss Ellie struggles with the violence that has entered their lives. Season 5. The Ewing family faces financial difficulties. Oil prices fluctuate wildly. JR makes risky investments that backfire. Bobby takes on more responsibility for the family business. The brothers' relationship becomes more strained. Pam and Bobby struggle with fertility issues. They desperately want children but face medical complications. The stress affects their marriage. JR uses their problems to drive a wedge between them. Miss Ellie develops breast cancer. The family rallies around her during treatment. Jock becomes overprotective and emotional. The illness brings the family together temporarily, but old conflicts resurface. Season 6. JR marries Sue Ellen again after their divorce. She's sober and trying to rebuild her life. The remarriage is rocky from the start. JR hasn't changed his manipulative ways. Sue Ellen knows she's making a mistake but loves him. Bobby starts his own oil company to compete with JR. The competition becomes personal and vicious. JR tries to sabotage Bobby's business deals. Bobby fights back using JR's own tactics. Cliff Barnes runs for political office with backing from JR's enemies. The election becomes a proxy war between the Ewings and Barnes families. JR uses every dirty trick to defeat Cliff. Season 7. Jock Ewing dies in a helicopter crash in South America. The family devastates. JR and Bobby inherit equal shares of Ewing oil. They can't agree on business decisions. Miss Ellie grieves deeply for her husband. A will contest emerges when Jock's brother Jason claims part of the inheritance. The legal battle tears the family apart. Old secrets about the Ewing family history come to light. The brothers unite against the external threat. Sue Ellen starts drinking again after Jock's death. She feels trapped in her marriage to JR. She begins another affair, this time with a politician. JR discovers the affair and uses it against her. Season 8. Bobby and Pam adopt a son named Christopher. The adoption brings them closer together. JR initially opposes the adoption, but eventually accepts his nephew. The child becomes a source of joy for the family. JR faces a hostile takeover of Ewing Oil. A consortium of his enemies joins forces to buy controlling interest. JR fights back using blackmail and intimidation. The business war becomes violent. Sue Ellen finally leaves JR and takes their son, John Ross. She moves to a separate residence and files for divorce. JR uses their son as leverage to control Sue Ellen. The custody battle becomes nasty. Season 9. Bobby dies in a car accident. The family mourns his loss. Pam becomes a widow and struggles to cope. JR takes full control of Ewing Oil. The family dynamic changes completely without Bobby's stabilizing influence. Pam begins dating again and eventually marries Mark Grayson. JR opposes the marriage but can't stop it. Mark is a successful businessman who treats Pam well. The marriage seems happy at first. The entire season was later annulled as a dream of Pamela Barnes Ewing in the season 10 premiere. Bobby Ewing's death impacted the show so much that the show erased an entire season to bring him back. Season 10. Pam wakes up in the shower to find Bobby alive. The entire previous season was her nightmare. It has since been referred to as the Dream Year or the Dream Season. This controversial plot device allowed Patrick Duffy to return to the show. Bobby and Pam's marriage continues with new challenges. They face problems with Christopher's biological mother wanting him back. The legal battle over custody creates tension between them. JR continues his schemes with renewed vigor. He targets new business rivals and political enemies. His methods become more extreme and dangerous. The family worries about his increasingly erratic behavior. Season 11. The Barnes-Ewing feud escalates when new family members arrive. Catherine Wentworth, Pam's half-sister, comes to Dallas with her own agenda. She's obsessed with Bobby and tries to break up his marriage. JR faces federal investigation for his business practices. FBI agents monitor his activities. He uses his political connections to avoid prosecution. The investigation strains his relationships with legitimate business partners. Sue Ellen begins a new relationship with Nicholas Pierce, a wealthy European businessman. JR becomes jealous and tries to sabotage the relationship. Sue Sue Ellen must choose between stability and her complicated feelings for JR at season 12. Bobby and Pam separate due to mounting pressures. Catherine Wentworth's manipulations contribute to their problems. Pam leaves Dallas temporarily to sort out her feelings. Bobby focuses on raising Christopher alone. JR marries Callie Harper, a much younger woman from rural Louisiana. The marriage shocks the family. Callie is innocent and naive compared to JR's previous wives. She struggles to adapt to the Ewing lifestyle. The oil industry faces a major crisis. Prices crash and companies fail. Ewing Oil struggles to survive. JR makes desperate deals to keep the company afloat. The financial pressure affects all family members. Season 13. Pam returns to Dallas, but her relationship with Bobby remains strained. She's changed during her time away. Catherine's continued presence complicates any reconciliation attempts. The family takes sides in the conflict. JR discovers that Callie is not as innocent as she seemed. She has her own agenda and family secrets. The marriage becomes complicated as both parties manipulate each other. JR faces his match in manipulation. A new generation of characters enters the show. John Ross and Christopher grow older and become more important to storylines. The show begins transitioning focus to younger characters. Season 14. The final season focuses on tying up loose ends. JR faces his biggest challenge yet when a cartel of international enemies targets him. They use advanced technology and unlimited resources against him. Bobby and Pam make a final attempt at reconciliation. They realize their love remains strong despite all obstacles. Catherine's schemes finally backfire, and she faces consequences for her actions. When the show ended on May 3rd, 1991, JR was the last character standing. The series concludes with JR alone in his office, still scheming. Some enemies are defeated, but others remain. The cycle continues. The final episodes show each character's fate. Some find happiness, others face consequences for their actions. The Ewing family endures despite all challenges. Southfork Ranch remains their anchor through all storms. Dallas ended with JR Ewing exactly where he started, scheming in his office, surrounded by enemies, still fighting for power. The more things changed, the more they stayed the same. The Barnes-Ewing feud never truly ended. Bobby and Pam's love story survived, but at great cost. Sue Ellen finally found strength to break free from JR's control. The oil business remained as corrupt and dangerous as ever. What did you think about the Dream season twist? Was it brilliant, or did it ruin the show's credibility? Drop your thoughts below. I'd love to hear your take on this controversial decision. Please hit that subscribe button for more similar content.